Hi, I'm Mr. Wahlberg, and I'm glad you're here. Welcome back to the Intro to Rhetoric. Today we're in Unit 2 of the first 3 strategies, and today we're going to be in Part 5 about internal and external credibility. We have one objective today. By the end of this class, you should be able to differentiate between external and internal credibility. Let's begin in Roman numeral number 7. So every rhetor needs to establish credibility in their piece, and sometimes they have it when they walk in, and sometimes it needs to be established over the course of the rhetoric they're proposing. Credibility plays a crucial role in effective rhetoric, and we know that it's an Aristotelian appeal, right? It's ethos. Ethos is one of the core appeals in rhetoric, and every rhetor must have relevant credibility to be accepted by the audience. It's not. It's always necessary. It's always necessary to be a credible speaker. If otherwise, the rhetor will be ignored. There's no reason to accept the points of an incredible person. Credibility, though, isn't enough on its own. Rarely do we accept anything because, just simply a person's credibility. It's almost always a secondary strategy. It's not enough to say, like, well, I know and I said so. Like, that's just not it. Credibility also might be gained or lost. It's not a stable thing, and it's very possible that somebody that doesn't have a good reputation for authority on a subject might be later seen as an authority, or we quite often see the other way around, that somebody was an authority on a subject and then turns out that they're not. I think a great example of this might be Lance Armstrong. People my age remember when Lance Armstrong was seen as one of the greatest athletes in the world. He was a competitive cyclist, seemed like a million-time winner of the Tour de France. And then it turns out later that he was a cheating cheater pants who was, doping and using, blood techniques to go illegally compete in the game. So somebody that went from maybe the greatest athlete of all time, at least, in his field, but maybe to somebody that we just don't trust him at all. So credibility can be gained or lost. More often in the public eye, we see it as lost, but oftentimes in private appeal, it goes the other way around, that somebody is seen as a not credible person and could get there. Subpoint B, I'm going to talk about external rhetoric. And external rhetoric, sometimes called extrinsic rhetoric, it means outside of the rhetor. External credibility is when the rhetor's credentials are well known. For instance, say you're going to get ready for a basketball game, and you go hear LeBron talk about the way that he prepares for a basketball game. Now, whether or not you like LeBron, whether or not you like his style of play or his off-the-court business, whatever, you know that nobody prepares for a game quite the way that LeBron does to it. He just is, a student of the game, and when he wants to talk about preparing for a game, his reputation precedes him. That's external credibility for him. The rhetor's credentials are well known. Or I think if a military general is going to talk about preparing for war, that's going to be a person that tells you, has much more credibility than I do on the subject. I mean, I've been a history teacher and I've, read about wars, but I've never prepared for war. I've never been military myself. And if I'm going to, I could give some, input. I mean, not really, but maybe. I mean, history teachers know a lot of stuff, but I don't. But I don't have a reputation for it. But if General Mattis wanted to go tell you about it, then okay, well then I understand that person has some credibility on the subject. Not everybody with expertise has external credibility. Credibility is given by the audience, so it's possible that a person is an actual expert. They are an authority on the subject, but the audience doesn't recognize it as so, because an audience, everything is audience centric, and if an audience doesn't accept a rhetor's knowledge base, then that they haven't really established credibility. It's not external credibility. It's not credibility on the way in. The other type of credibility we want to talk about today is internal credibility, also called intrinsic credibility. Same meaning for it. And it's when the rhetor demonstrates competency or honesty, etc., to the audience. Anytime that a rhetor mentions his or her credentials or discusses their relevant work, he or she is establishing internal credibility. They're making that case to the audience in front of them. Students can demonstrate their internal credibility by showing their research. If they, if a person is trying to make the case to do a thing or to change an opinion, and they go and they describe what are all of the statistics on the subject, that they have done their homework on it, that's where the student would go establish their credibility. When I sit in the dentist chair, one of the things I like to do is go look to make sure that my dentist school diploma and license is hanging on the wall before I let anybody put a hole through a body part. I want to make sure that they're qualified to do it. That's how my dentist demonstrates internal credibility for it. When I'm on the first day of school and I'm introducing myself and I say, hi, my name is Mr. Wahlberg. This is my so-and-the year teaching, and I have 4 licenses in 2 states, and I have a master's degree in education, and blah, blah, blah. What I'm doing is establishing my credentials. I'm showing some internal credibility. Because you probably think that, this person's a teacher at a school, they probably are competent to teach a subject, but I'd like to go and establish it anyway as a way of just showing my internal credibility on it. So internal rhetoric a rhetor might determine or show their internal credibility by demonstrating likability or good character. Those are also ways to establish credibility, and the things that we're going to talk about next time. The issue of credibility is crucial in rhetoric. You have to be a credible rhetor, but there's a lot more to say on this subject, and I can't wait to tell you more about it. Make sure you like and subscribe. God bless you.